Everybody strap on your seatbelt. Here we go. She was a locksmith. She decided to go down to a new area called Lubbock, Texas, put the ACN flag in the ground, and had the guts to ask Mr. Tony Kupas to go to another city before she moved to Lubbock. And now she's down there in Lubbock. Now it looked like because she went to Lubbock, I see everybody else trying to go to Lubbock now. I don't know why everybody's trying to go to Lubbock. So without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to none other than the Queen of Lubbock, Miss Roxann Corralejo.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. I appreciate you so much and all that you do. You guys, I wanted to share that I'm wearing the AC shirt. Man, so he didn't realize that fun size means small fun size. So as I was getting a shirt, he didn't have any smalls, but you know what? They said, don't worry, we'll get you one. We got to get you your size. So just what a phenomenal leader Mr. Thomas is. He asked me in Dallas if I can be a guest speaker on his YouTube channel. And you know what? When you are following someone as great as Mr. Thomas, the only answer is what? Absolutely. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I don't know what I got to do. I'm freaking out. I don't like being in front of a camera, but absolutely. He forces you out of your comfort zone just because you only want to say yes. Yes, sir. What can I do? You serve so many. How can I serve you? So thank you so much for the privilege and opportunity to be able to do that for you, and the privilege and opportunity to be able to speak on this call. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I also want to give a big thanks just to everybody on this call. I mentioned Mr. Clemens and I were joking this morning. Man, he got me good this morning. But we're rocking and rolling. But I did want to share something with Mr. Conversation I had with Mr. Joshua Casey yesterday. And this is what's so great about this call. Let me open up this text message. And just to paint a little scene for you guys, I just messaged Mr. Casey. We've become good friends just because of this call. Because of this, he reached out to me. We became accountability partners. Him and his wife are crushing it. He is ready. He was so ready for retirement before he did. But all I did was send him this message. I said, hi, can you remind me what branch of military you were in? That's it. No, nothing before that. I didn't give him any other thing. I just said, hi, can you remind me what branch of military you in? I got bullet notes, you guys. United States Navy, served 20 years, retired February 2024 as a Navy Chief E7, married, 3 kids. He gave me his edification standards already. There we go. Mr. Thomas is holding up a picture of Mr. Casey, and I would assume that's his retirement. But you guys, that is what we do for each other. All I asked is, can you remind me what branch of military you were in? Because he knows I probably have someone that's in the military. I probably have someone that's ready to retire. I probably have someone that I want to introduce to Mr. Casey. And I just said, wow, you're freaking awesome. Thank you so much. And he just said, I stay ready. That's it. So that is the type of people that we're working with here that are so eager and willing to work for you. You don't even have to ask. I just asked what branch of the military you were in. He gave me all of his stats ready to go to work. So if you're not utilizing each other, you are missing out. We are not connected in any way when it comes to our business, but he knew, hey, Roxann's reaching out to me. She needs something. Let me see what I can do to help her. And he's ready. So thank you so much, Mr. Casey. And thank you for everybody on this call that definitely has my back to help me with some people that I might not have that credibility with. This was a sergeant in the Navy as well, first sergeant. So I needed someone Mr. Casey's level, and he provided that for me just by that simple response. So you guys, I'm not going to waste any more of your time talking about everything that I'm thankful for, because I can go through individually each person and how you guys have helped me out in so many ways. But I want to get to my topic today, and I'm going to start with how to overcome burnout. And this is a general topic that's not necessarily just talking about ACN, but I know we can get that feeling with ACN. Through my group, I had a little bit of a conversation with them about this last night, but I'm going to dig a little bit deeper into that today and how to overcome burnout. I know with my locksmith company, Mr. Thomas mentioned I had that. Yes, I hit it. I hit burnt out. I hit that point where I just wanted to crawl in a hole and do nothing. I'm like, I am tired. Wash everything away. And I know that you guys are there too, whether it has to do with work, whether it has to do with family. Some of you guys are at work. I was talking to someone and she said, she's like, you know what? I'm working about 55, 60 hours this week just for work. And she's a full-time student as well. On top of that, full-time student. Some of you guys have kids. I have reps that I work with that are serial entrepreneurs, also work a day job, but also are traveling in between sporting events. I'm on the phone with them, or we're on the Zoom from a track meet over to a baseball game from one kid to the next. And that happens. We have life going out, and we reach that moment where we're burnt out. And then all of a sudden you sign that paper, or you log in online to become an independent business owner for ACN. And how are we going to find the time? How are we going to make any room for this side hustle? I thought about it all the time, is how are people doing it? How? There has to be a secret way. Like, what is it that gets them to do so much, to push beyond those limits? And I was watching a movie last week, and it was, I think it was called A Million Miles Away, or something like that. But it's a immigrant migrant worker from Mexico, immigrant migrant worker. He comes to the United States, and what they're doing is they're working the fields in California. And that's what they do. And he started doing this at a very young age with his siblings, with his cousins. His parents drive him up from Mexico every season to harvest and then to go back to Mexico. And that's just their life. But he had a dream. He had a dream of becoming an astronaut. And as a migrant farm worker, everyone told him, why? That's not going to be you. What are you doing? What are you doing this for? And he had to work harder than anybody else. He had to go above and beyond. He had to study. He had to work out. He had to do so much more to overcome his circumstances to even get into a playing field where people started at. He had to work so hard to get to other people's starting point and then work harder. And sometimes we have that burnout moment because we are working so stinking hard. We feel that we can't give anymore. But going back to that movie, the kid, as a young kid, and he just had a thought in his mind, and he was just tired. He tripped, he dropped his grapes, did everything, and he said, I'm over it. I can't do this anymore. How are we doing this every single day? I'm up 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm picking grapes. I have to go to school. I come back and I work some more. Like, how do you do it, Dad? I see you do it all the time. How are you and Mom doing it? And he just lets them know that, like, you don't think I'm tired? You don't think Mom's tired? You don't think cousin's tired? Everybody here, you don't think we're tired. We're all going through it. We're all tired, but we have to push through. And why is he pushing through? Because of his family. And sometimes we don't think about that. Is the way to overcome burnout. Sometimes it's just getting ourselves out of the way, but also remembering our dream. So we had this dream. And when I'm launching someone, there's so much more to a business launch than getting them accredited, getting them services, and having their first presentation. Why? We can do all that, but what gets them motivated and what gets them to continue to work after those first few steps, after those first no's? When it comes to ACN, my burnout moment are those no's. I hate it. No matter what happens in my business, I am doing great, and then I get a no, and I'm like, oh man, the way that makes me feel. I was talking to a new rep of mine working on three-way text. He was getting me connected with people, and he was like, wow, this is easy. And I'm like, ooh, I don't like that word. He says, this is easy. And I don't like it, you guys, because as we know, this is not easy. This is hard. ACN is hard. It is simple. It is the most simplest thing you will ever do in your life, but it is hard. How and why? Because he was thinking, oh, this is easy. And he started getting people on a three-way text. He's like, all I am doing is following the script. He attended training, so he knows the script. He just says, hey, are you looking at other ways of making money? They say yes. He says, great, let me introduce you to the expert. I'm going to get you connected with him. That is it. And he just got yes after yes after yes after yes. And he goes, great, I have 9 confirmations already. And I said, awesome. That's a great start. Literally not 2 minutes later, he says, I got my first no. I got my first no. And it happens. We know it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. Sometimes it's that very first person you talk to. Sometimes it's the 20th person you talk to. But that no's coming no matter what. And us as leaders, what we have to do is make sure the new person is prepared and ready for that no. And there are some people that are just overlooking. Oh, no problem. We already got 9 confirmations. Keep going. Keep hustling. Let's go. You guys, one thing some people forget is the humanity aspect of this business, the people part of this business. And we have to remember, reach out to the person. And I said, okay, what happened? How did the conversation go? Make sure that they aren't saying the wrong things to get that no. And he told me he followed the script. He did everything right. And the person came back to him and said, hey, it just sounds like one of those MLM things. You're not giving me any information. So I'm just not interested. I don't want to do anything like that. And he said, okay. He's like, no problem. Because he had that training, because he was prepped properly for that no. He expected it. He knew it was coming, but it still sucks. So I asked him, I said, okay, how did that make you feel? Don't overlook the issues that your team is having. Don't overlook the issues, the struggles that the new person has to go through, because it's normal for you. We've already been through those. For them, it's the first time. When a baby falls down, you're going to pick them up. Pick them up. Ask him, how did that make you feel? And he said, it sucked. And I said, right? It still sucks for me. I get it. After 9 yeses, 9 confirmations, that one no brought him down. That roller coaster brought him down. But then he was able to talk it through. I asked him, he said, yeah, it sucks. And I said, it does. I've been there. I get it. And then he started continuing with those 3-way messages. He started working more because why? That no empowered him to do so because he was prepared. That no is what gets people burnt out in ACN. When they get 1 no, 2 no, 3 no's, 4 no's, 5 no's, it gets them burnt out. I've told you guys time and time again, when I first came to Lubbock, I had 0 credibility. I didn't know a single person. I got a lot of no's. I got over 50 no's. I stopped counting after 50. It happens. But those 50 no's led to the success that we've had today. Those 50 no's led to the recognition, all the promotions, everything that's happening. In the past couple of weeks, we've promoted 3 regional coordinators out of Lubbock, and more are coming. More are in the pipeline. I have people that are halfway to regional director in just a few months, you guys. 90 days and over halfway to regional director. But it started with 50 no's, and that's what gets people burnt out. But what gets you to work through that burnt out moment? What gets you keep on pushing? Because I know that part's hard. I've been there. And I know that part's hard, but it's that ability to think about it. So going back to when I launch a new person, it's more than just getting them started and getting their services in and getting their first presentation, but it's asking them their reason why. Do you do that? We talk about it all the time, but do you have these conversations with your new people? Do you ask them why? And this is verbatim from everything I've heard Mr. Dean Trolley say over and over and over and over and over and over again, comes out of my mouth exactly the same way. If you had more time and more money, not Bill Gates or Oprah Winfrey rich, but if you had more time and more money and your bills were paid, you were good, what would you be doing? Exact words from him. Why? Because I heard it so many times, like my favorite song. Like my favorite song that I can sing in the car. I've heard that so many times, it just comes out exactly the same way because I follow the leader. Robin Duplicated, it's exactly what we do. Are you asking that question day 1 of the launch so that they know why they're doing this? That is so important to know their reason why. And I'm going to pick on a handful of people. Who here is fairly new in the business? And if you're on my team, I'm sorry, please don't raise your hand because we've already been through this. I know Christy was already like, I'm ready. Who is fairly new? If your cameras aren't on, I can't see if you're raising your hand or something. I don't see any hands go up, so I'm going to have to pick on someone. And I know who I pick on probably isn't going to be fairly new. Miss Deborah, you're always ready to participate for me. So if I can get Mr. She's like, okay, what are we going to be talking about? If I can get Mr. Clemens, thank you to help Miss Deborah unmute. So I'm going to ask you that single question. Deborah, if you had more time and more money, what would you be doing?
Spending time with my grandkids and traveling.
Spending time with your grandkids and traveling. What would you be doing with your grandkids? Would you be traveling with them?
Oh, absolutely.
Where would you want to take them?
Everywhere they want to go.
That's awesome. Where do you think they would want to go? Where would you want to go? Where would you want to have your grandkids experience?
We're going to Bora Bora, honey.
Oh, I want to go to, can I come? Let's go. We're going to Bora Bora together. I love it. How long will you be in Bora Bora?
For a whole month, honey.
A whole month. She's already got it planned. What would you be doing with them?
Everything we need to do over there on that island. We're going to be swimming. We're going to be eating all the good foods, shopping, everything. Getting on the boat rides, talking to people, talking to people too.
What kind of food do you want to try in Bora Bora?
Any kind. Any kind.
Any kind. You got to look it up. What are they serving? Fish, probably? Some seafood? Some
absolutely.
Really good seafood out of the ocean?
Absolutely good seafood, like Mr. Thomas said.
I love it. So you guys, thank you so much, Deborah. I appreciate you. This is how we get them to start thinking about these things. First thing she said is travel and spend time with the grandkids. Well, that's not a dream. That is something you want to do, but get them to dig deeper. What does that look like for you? I know she's had some experience in the business, so she was well trained for this, and I love that. But not a lot of people have. They haven't had ACN in the back of their mind running, been at these events, talking to these great leaders, seeing Mr. Thomas travel the world. You guys, he's not showing us where he is in the middle of the jungle just to brag, just to say, hey, here's where I'm at. Don't you wish I was here? No. He does this to get you to start thinking. He's like, all right, who's coming to me next time? Hey, I can be there. I can be zip lining. I can be in the jungle. I can be eating this food. The time we get those responses, or spend more time with my kids, just spend more time with the grandkids. Well, what does that look like? You have to practice that first. You have to know your reason why. You have to start dreaming. So what gets me to overcome burnout is not really what I want out of this, but it's that idea of hope and opportunity. For let's just start with you. Get you to start dreaming again. Do you know what you want to do? Do you know what that looks like? Can you picture it? Can you see it? Do you know what kind of foods you're tasting? Do you know what kind of boat rides you want to go? Do you know how long you want to take these vacations for? She said a month. Why not 6 months, Deborah? Why not immerse your grandkids into a culture that they would never experience out here for 6 months? Why not? But she's not thinking about that because she just right now can only think as far as a month. That's as far as her dreaming and her imagination can extend at this point in time where she's at. But you know what? When we go that much, it's going to be, you know what, Roxann, we'll try. I'm going to spend 6 months out. I'm going to buy a vacation home out there. We have to get other people to start thinking about, but we can't until we do it for ourselves first. So I want to play something real quickly, and I'm going to ask you guys if you can just close your eyes and listen to the words. Close your eyes and just start imagining, start dreaming, start thinking what your future could look like, what you want more of. Just listen and dream. Close your eyes and please listen.
When we were kids in the backyard, playing astronauts and rock stars, no one told us to stop it, called us unrealistic. Then suddenly you're 18, go to college for your plan B. What you want is too risky. Live for weekends and whiskey. We all got these big ideas. One day they're replaced with fear. How did we get here? Darling, don't quit your daydream. It's your life that you're making. It ain't big enough if it doesn't scare the hell out of you. If it makes you nervous, it's probably worth it. Why save it for sleep when you could be living your daydream? 31 waiting tables, she has the voice of an angel. Out of money and power, she only sings in the shower. All these things we say we'll get to, shot down by the reasons not to. Darling, don't quit your daydream. It's your life that you're making. It ain't big enough if it doesn't scare the hell out of you. If it makes you nervous, it's probably worth it. Why save it for sleep when you could be living your daydream? So scared of failure that we fail to try, turning around before the finish line. Gotta fall for a minute before you can fly. So daydream, it's your life that you're making. It ain't big enough if it doesn't scare the hell out of you. If it makes you nervous, it's probably worth it. Why save it for sleep when you could be living your daydream? Why save it for sleep when you should be living your daydream?
But that song, the first time I heard it, really touched my heart because we let fear take over all the time. And I told you guys, that so many people say, I'm going to Lubbock. I'm going to come to Lubbock. I'm going to come visit. I'm going to go build. And no one did. And now Mr. Thomas says everyone wants to go to Lubbock. Why? Because I'm proof. I'm proof it worked. They needed proof in order to do it. Why not you be that proof? And what's keeping you from that is because you are not thinking about what could come out of it. You're not thinking about your dreams. So just to give you a little example of what one of my launches looks like and how that's happened, I've had, and I talked about this last night, but I did have someone on my team, and I asked him, and it's a gentleman that got really emotional when I had this conversation with him. And I said, hey, if you had more time and more money, what would you be doing? Not crazy rich, but your bills were paid, you were good, what would you be doing? And he said, spend more time with my kids. And I said, I love it. What would you be doing with your kids? Mr. Roxann, I just don't spend any time with them. I want to spend more time with my kids. And I said, I absolutely get that. Let's just say tomorrow, you had time tomorrow, you had some money, what would you be doing? And it took him a while, and I could see the expression on his face change as he started getting emotional, because he doesn't think about that. He doesn't know. He just knows he wants more time with his kids, but he doesn't have it. So he cannot fathom, he can't think what that time actually looks like. And just pulling it out of him and getting him to start dreaming again. And he said, you know what, Roxann? It took us a year to save just to take my kids to the beach, just to drive out to the beach and take them to the beach. We saved for a solid year. I want to take my kids to the beach. You know what? I want to take my kids to the beach and not worry about them getting oil on their feet. I want to take them to a beach where the water is clear. I want to take them somewhere nice where it's beautiful. That's what I want to do. And it took some pulling, and he just realized and had that realization is that he has been working his tail off for his children and can't give that to him. Can't give something which he thinks should be super simple and something that they can experience. But he couldn't even think of what he wanted to do because he stopped dreaming. He stopped those realizations. He says, this is what we have. We have this beach. They're going to get oil on their feet. It's going to take us a year to save to get there, but this is all that we have in our hands. And being able to get them to dream again is what's going to get them to have that second and third and fourth meeting. It's what's going to get them to push through that first, second, third, fourth, fifth no, that 50th no, to keep going. So what gets me out of burnout is not what I can do, not my dreams, not the hope and opportunity that was slain to me, because that's what we're doing. We're not selling electricity, you guys. We're not selling internet. We're not selling cell phone service. We're selling hope and opportunity. And it's not my hope and opportunity that gets me out of these moments. It's other people's. Just like that movie on A Million Miles Away, it's the dad that keeps working, that has hands that are cut to shreds, that works morning, noon, and night every chance he gets for his children. That's what we're doing for other people. We have this hope and opportunity dream that we're selling to other people. So that's what gets me through my burnout. That's what gets me answering text messages at 5 o'clock in the morning, is because someone else was sold that dream I sold them. And it's up to me to make sure they succeed. It's up to me to make sure I'm available to help them. So it's up to you to figure out what that dream is. I have someone else on my team that she got emotional and she says, Roxann, I don't want to work my job anymore. I hate my job. I'm not appreciated here. They don't value me. And it's just a means to an end that I have to do. That's what we have to do for our team. Are you doing that? When was the last time you had that conversation? Have that conversation with your wife, with your husband first. Have that conversation with your kids. What would you want to do? Pull that out of them, practice. It takes some skill to practice to get people to start dreaming again, probably because you haven't before. Mr. Tejada does this exercise. And if I were to ask any one of you, and I'm not going to just for sake of time real quickly, but if I were to ask any one of you, what does your future look like 10 years from now? What would it say? What would you say? What would it look like? Would it be basic? Would it be generic? I'd have a bigger house. I'd have a nicer car. I wouldn't be working every day. Challenge yourself to pull that out. What kind of house? What state? What city? Would you be on the beach? Would you be in the middle of the city? Would you be in the middle of nowhere? A lot of Texans will be like, you know what? I'm going to buy 35 acres, plant in the middle of nowhere, not see anybody. Know what your team wants. What kind of house? Okay, you wake up. What color is the comforter, the duvet that you're laying in? Is it Egyptian cotton? Do you have slippers? At the end of the bed, when you crawl out of bed, is there someone already you have a chef making breakfast, having breakfast prepared for you? What does your day look like? Have these things planned. Are you smelling pine trees? Are you smelling the ocean? Are you feeling that breeze? What does the future look like for you 10 years from now? That is the only way we can bring it out of our team. We're selling hope and opportunity. And if you are not catching the vision yourself, there is no way you can get someone else to dream. It starts with you. But I challenge you guys, if you have not been asking, and I can guarantee a lot of you guys haven't been asking your team. Maybe you don't even have an active team. Reach out to the people that are inactive. Ask them, if you had more time or more money, what would you be doing? For how long? Where would you go? Who would you be with? What would that look like? What would you be wearing? Start thinking about this. What time of year? So you guys, that's all I have for you today. And please, it is the end of the first quarter of 2024. What have you done so far? I know everybody, we keep saying the mantra for 2024 is we want more in 2024. Have you gotten more yet? Maybe not, maybe yes, but there is more to come. Pay attention, enroll your children, enroll your family in what you're doing, and go out there and get that daydream, you guys. If it doesn't scare the hell out of you, it's not big enough.